My name is Rhapsody and welcome back to Slay the Spire Downfall. Just to quickly address something that I've had in a couple of comments. Snecko's still here. Of course that should happen at exactly that period of time. The Snecko's still here. You just have to tab across the character screens in order to get to them. You can see, there's a Snecko. They didn't get deleted. It's, Have you all not run many character mods in the past? if you have more than 3 characters, or probably more than 4 characters rather, that's how they end up getting represented. Let's go into our Ascension 3 here though, try and get our final unlocks. What are we gonna need, like 56 points? Let's see if we can scrounge that together, how about, you know? Don't love these paths. I don't really like the early aggression of this character super much. Maybe I'll come around on that. Maybe I'll discover exactly what I really want to be prioritizing as an upgrade. Maybe some other transformational thing will occur, but at the moment what it really looks like is I'm going to peel out here, get two upgrades rather, 2 cards, 2 upgrades, get the first shop. So we get 2 cards, 2 upgrades before the first merchant. Probably going to lay down 50 to 55. I said 50 to 55, I meant 50 to 75, but let's say 50 to 55, right? 52.5 on average damage. It's going to be my estimate there. And then we've got an elite. We have the option afterwards to get an extra card if we desperately need it. Otherwise, we go for an event. And then we have just a pretty snoozy act from there on out at the very end. 9 max HP for a rare colorless card. And we choose the rare colorless card importantly as well. Yeah. With this many... Oh! Wowzers! Okay, that's how that do. We'll take that, we'll immediately upgrade it, and now we are going to be transmuting the souls of our enemies over the course of this entire floor. Ideally, I will take as much excess damage as I need to in order to guarantee that we get all that juicy gold. Pretty high chance we get the... Nice. Kill here. Aggression versus Flurry of Strikes versus Bring It On. I really like Bring It On. I like it a hell of a lot. It feels like... I mean, Taunt is a decent defensive tool, and also Upgraded now chooses a stance to enter, so you can choose defensive. I was going to say it feels like the base deck of this character isn't particularly defensive, but it can be. It certainly can be. I think I'm going to enhance that with the Bring It On, though. Oh, baby. Gosh, yeah, I'm gonna do that and then bring it on for the full block. Giant counter as well there. Thing is, now I have to make sure I don't counter the enemy again until they die. That'll do it. So I don't want to overload on finishers, but Crooked Strike is really good. Is our boss this floor? Ironclad. So, honestly, part of the biggest reason that I had to do that check is because the silence deck on floor 1 is shivs and scaling. What is the silent deck on floor 2? God, have I forgotten? I know the silent deck on floor 3 is poisoned and wraith form. I know that the defect on floor 2 is Claw, so it'd be relatively useful in that fight as well. It's also pretty good for a lot of the elites next floor. A lot of them have multi-attacks. A lot of the normal enemies have multi-attacks as well. It's just a really, really rough one to try and justify here when I already have a single, well, triple finisher at this rate in the deck, and no stance entry, save the base deck. I'm still gonna take it, but... we're gonna have to find ways to utilize it. I'm not gonna remove its exhaust yet. Let's enter chosen stances here. So we can trigger chosen exit bonuses. Do I wanna enter a stance after hitting the enemy here? I think I do actually. So the finisher bonus for Gladiator is +1/+1 in terms of your draw and your energy over the next turn. Technique bonus, we're not going to get technique bonus. Finisher bonus, we won't need that finisher bonus. I guess I'll take Berserker. Yeah, this is kind of how I figured this one was going to go. So bring it on. No, I just had a green! I forgot that a finisher finishes your fight. No, give me aggression. If we'd used the Hand of Greed, we would have done 25 more damage on top of that. Gotten the enemy down to 52, 32, so we would have dealt... we would have dealt right between the 75 and 50 damage that I had previously projected, but then had stepped back off of. And that Precise Thrust is pretty early. We could try and run a thin deck that has Precise Thrust. And Gladiator combos. It's also a second Bring It On. Don't want that many of them, do I? How many combos do I really have? 0. Improvising is good. I really like improvising. 1 cost as well on its upgrade. I'm going to take Precise Thrust, though. The reason I'm going to do that is because I've taken the other 2. I haven't taken Precise Thrust that much. It's a good Vicious Mockery right there. That Haymaker also looks pretty good if I'm going to be going for a little bit of a Gladiator sub-theme. Actually have the ability to set up Weak and Vulnerable. It's pretty useful. Reckless Leap is just ridiculously powerful. It's difficult for me to ignore it at all, ever. For that reason. But Vicious Mockery Haymaker, I think right now is a suitable alternative for me. Now I need some reliable Guardian entry. Sorry, Guardian Gladiator entry. Nice Thrust, a Hand of Greed. How much damage do I really think I'm going to take in this fight? Because I think I am going to try and hold. Hang on. Let's enter defensive. Okay. Then we'll viciously mock. We'll crookedly strike. That was a finisher. Why did I do that? I was supposed to use the other finisher. Okay, it's gonna take me a little bit of time here, clearly, before I understand that finishers are things that finish. You know, because it could be interpreted so many ways. Finisher, does it mean it's gonna open the turn? I don't know. Please have mercy on me. Let's just make you weak. Do you see incoming damage just like a little bit? Ow! Oops, that one hurt too. I'm gonna taunt my way into defensive. Fine. I'll defend and then Hand of Greed the front line. And this is so that at maximum I have to defend 10 per turn. Because this legitimately could get problematic if that wasn't the case. Yeah, neat. Bring it on as a full defense right now, but... it's a full defense that also count... it's fine. It's just I can no longer really attack any enemy without, well... accidentally murdering someone. No, that'll do it. That'll do it. Full block. The original plan was to transmute my enemy's health into gold. But the longer that I am stalling this fight out, the more I am transmuting my own health into gold. Oh, stop it. Stop it. It. Hand of Greed at the very bottom of this deck, but hopefully it's at the very top of the next one. I mean, I should have used Vicious Mockery. No! If I used Vicious Mockery, I would have gained counter, and the counter would have killed another enemy for me, so... correct decision not to. Yeah, we lost, like, almost all of our HP in this fight. Oh, I mean, I'm a little bit worried, I guess. Arumba's Pocket Sentry. Oh! This one's had a name added in there, and the name there of Arumba. I think the channel is Arumba07. A lot of grand strategy content. Finish him, Haymaker, fight on. Yeah, I don't know if I want to any of these right now. Thanks, but no thanks on that one. Might be statue potions always appear in combat rewards. Seems ridiculously effective. Yikes. I'm going to viciously mock and then just double defend. Gradually lower the enemy's health. Make my way towards the kill on my own terms. Bring it on. I can no longer counter the enemy. It's the head of greed. Great. Oh, Entropic Brew, you shouldn't have. But I'm damn glad you did. Circuit combo. Backstab out of that. No. Oh, good. Not necessarily getting great card choices for me right here. Probably gonna have to pop the Entropic Brew in the next battle if I had to guess. Let's do it. Not exactly what I was looking for, to be entirely frank with you. Let's get into Gladiator so we can actually try and ramp up the precise thrust here. That just weakened everyone, so next turn it's going to deal the 7 damage. Okay, so I wait. Because now it'll weaken on the turn that the enemy stands up, so I'll take less damage. Hey, this really sucks. Precise Thrust is exactly the card at the bottom of the deck. I'm going to look for Skill Potion to try and draw me a single card here. No. That's a no on allowing us to do that. I'm going to take this to... Hey! You thought you could stop me! Then I'm gonna Vicious Mockery and draw a card and then do it again, which I could have done the entire time if I'd been paying attention. But please, attention's too expensive. It's a rough go. Taunt the extra weak for the next turn. I do like that, but let's first use this to try and find some sort of a defensive combo in some way. Enter Berserker. Ah, no, I know what we do. We go Fan of Knives, we enter Berserker, we use the Taunt to get some fatigue, but we also enter Defensive. We use the Crooked Strike in order to weaken the enemy. Or rather, remove Strength. So, unfortunately, we're no longer in Gladiator, but I feel like the trade-off was pretty worth it here. Okay. Shame to get Vicious Mockery on all of the worst turns for it. There's the Hand of Greed. Unfortunately, it's probably like pretty much exactly one cycle out of phase of where I need it to be in order to be useful. I'm doing that so that I can try and make my next 2 hands ultra defensive. No finisher in hand. That's rough. Let's aggression our way into Gladiator. Okay. Viciously mock the enemy. And precisely thrust the enemy 2 times there as well. So now I leave myself with 2 draw opportunities to... Wait. 1 weak. Okay. Yeah, I leave myself with literally just this opportunity this turn right now. That didn't happen. In order to try and get the Hand of Greed again. Old coin. Okay, I'm still gonna turn those down. Find me some way to use the value that I keep generating here, please, game. I would appreciate a way to use the value that I keep generating, please, here, game. gonna go for the full defend, rather. I could strike the frontliner and try and get them dead. Alas. Actually, I probably should have played slower, as it turns out. I forgot. We got the Hands of Greed. How did I forget about the Hands of Greed? I almost killed the run to utilize the Hands of Greed. Drop the spiked energy drink. Maybe I just undervalue that, but I will be dropping it here. Stance. A little bit of stance fixing seems pretty useful in most runs. Taunt our way into Gladiator. Perfect. He's not intending to attack. Their half HP value is 33. So we're totally fine to do that. Can't remember if Arumba's Pocket Sentry attacked last turn. It did. Yeah, this is perfect. What we've just done there is set up for this. Stance our way into Gladiator to use a Precise Thrust and a Deafened. Yeah, I'm also going to Crooked Strike there for the extra draw. Literally the intent behind Crooked Striking for the extra... Oh no, Roomba! No! Roomba, what? Choose one of 3 cards, the densest... Okay. Look, I have the White Beast statue. I should have used the regen potion much earlier as a result of that. That's my bad. I'll try and focus on that a little bit more. Vicious Mockery. Second copy of it. Make the deck significantly more defensive. We have a lot of things that say block on them. Block is... You know? You know? Let's do it. I feel like this deck ramps real slow, though. I also don't think money is really that much of our concern. I think we'll go for some strike removals here. Starts our way into defensive. That's literally the only one I didn't want you to hit. Congrats. I mean, it actually may have been the best one in retrospect for it to hit, so whoops. Endless Rage when you lose HP on your... there's the aggression as well. I think we'll be passing all these. AoE is a bit rough. That is to say, fights of the AoE Persuasion. Let's go defensive. Yeah, so that I can do something like this. If that Gremlin Wizard doesn't go down in time, we go down in time. Dig. On transmute him. Really? Literally the bottom card of the deck? Just checking. Just making certain that's exactly what happened to me here. I'm gonna Gambler's Brew pass the strike so that I can actually do the thing. I guess I bring it on to defend? Yeah, sure, I'll get a point of dex. Because these 2 remaining enemies are now excellent fodder for just more gold. Into Gladiator. Just keep it going, apparently. As best I can. Skillful dodge. Honestly, I like the idea of jumping back and forth between defensive and Gladiator. Because I'm like a dex growth deck that deals damage via counter, but I don't really have the support for the counter build yet. Not exactly in love with what I've done here. Hey, when we get to the next floor and when we find the first shop, suddenly we take off like a GD rocket. Now I'm talking like the successful ones, not the, you know, tragic ones. I want to get into Gladiator. So do it. That's the answer to that, isn't it? So do it. I need to scale something here because, as we just identified, our other scaling effects are not going to be enough. Hey, that improvising, given the skillful dodge and the 2 precise thrusts that we put into the deck, that improvising now suddenly feels like a real good card. Okay, I'm going to enter Gladiator first. That worked out really well. Now we Haymaker, we Precise Thrust. I'll use a Strategy Potion to... Did I misunderstand that Strategy Potion? So, I thought the Strategy Potion was going to give me the ability to change my stance. Huh. I guess I misread. The enemy deals a lot of damage. That's what I'm finding out right now. Murder Strike. I mean, still cast it. Use one. I need to scale my defense some. This enemy is kind of unrelentingly harming me here. Let's enter Berserker so that I can execute, but also get my resolve back, just in case. Because I'm feeling pretty under threat, and we can see why right now. The enemy's still weak, so I don't need to use the Haymaker here. However, if I do throw these 2 strikes, I can get the Taunt, giving me the ability to enter specifically Gladiator, so the Precise Thrust is a little precisely more impactful, and then round that out with a Crooked Strike at the very end to lower the incoming damage. We'll find our way around this one. I'm not happy to lose here. This deck has too much potential. Hand of Greed's worth too much damage there, as well as to bring it on at the very end. I just need a way back to be able to defend myself this turn, which unfortunately wasn't necessarily guaranteed. And as we look right now, is definitely not guaranteed. I can defend all but 6 right now. Next hand, you know. Next hand's a bit like that. My concern is the next hand is going to be very aggressive, and I'm going to be unprepared. Okay, it's not particularly aggressive, actually. Enter the Gladiator, double deafened, and Tubely Strike. I'm not weakened here either. It's entirely... Wow, I was about to say entirely possible I draw into lethal, which we did. All right. Straighten up and fly right, Ryan. That was not my best floor of all time in terms of my play. However... Ooh, there's the improvising! So good. Yep, we're doing an improvising combo build. Hey, if we're running this deck quite thin, that's another opportunity to get the double crown. We've got to get it. It's busted. So the good paths. There's a really safe good path far on the left. Mama didn't raise no coward. I'm going on the right-hand side. I'm going to take out every elite I can. Improv needs to get just a little better there. And then I can finally join ITT. ITS? It's ITS now. It's the Improv Theatre in Sydney. I mean, like, I think about it consistently. I think about it often enough that I should probably just bite the bullet one day. It's largely anxiety that stopped me from... Well, I mean, I could end the sentence there, right? I just think it'd be a really, really enjoyable time. I don't necessarily... I mean, and also, I would be able to, like, reverse justify it to myself. Like, yeah, I mean, this is useful in my line of work. Not necessarily super directly, but... it's there. Huh? Huh? First time you use a combo. Return it to your hand and cost 0 until played. 0 uses left. I'm pretty sure this card, last patch, I was a little weirded out by this as well when I drafted it. I was like, hang on, this looks a bit different. I'm pretty sure this card was a combo, but I also think for some reason now it's still being considered a combo. Because I was going to do that and then I was going to haymake, but... ethereal cards? Yeah, I'm probably going to need ethereal cards if I'm going to defend this turn at all. Well... not exactly how I thought this one was going to go down. So what, we're waiting for the next cycle now? I can do that. There's the double precise thrust at him. If I bring it on, I'm fine, right? Yeah. Let's taunt a defensive and then bring it on, you coward! Double drop that dex right there. In fact, oh, why did I do that? I failed it. Never mind, we still handed a greed. It's all good. Handed of greed, yep. That's apparently how I think that's said. That's an improv turn 1. Perfect. Scarcely be happier. Hey, and we did get Crooked Strike here as well. Baby. Yeah, I'm gonna defend and bring it on at the end of the turn. What up? Okay, the big thing we're currently missing is Gladiator. I'm gonna see if there's a attack in here to get us into Gladiator. No is the answer, but duel at least is enough damage to kill a target, but also it scales with our block, and our block is pretty important. Glad Haymaker got returns there. That is a combo card. He still is a combo card. Okay, we stance into defensive. We use Skillful Dodge 2 times, just scaling it, getting some combo rather. Then we get into Gladiator, so the rest of our combo cards have the double play here as well. $21 on a single target I can dish out right now. And if I'm willing to take 3 damage back, I can actually even kill the second target, so I like that a lot. 1, 2, kill. And this one hits me for 4 damage. I kill it with my counter. Yeah, dual-handed greed is not going to be enough. Maybe if duel was a combo card. I messed up. I should have played Mockery 2 times at the very start there. Still get to transmute him though. Gremlin Horn. Whenever an enemy dies, gain an energy and draw a card. Control, defensive or berserker. No. Sorry. I think the one I'm looking for is precision. What? I was spamming through that text because I was pretty certain I'd seen it before. Evidently I have not. I do apologize. Okay. So it seems like the cleric is being protected by 2 centurions here due to some perceived slight. And by perceived, I mean almost definitely real. I gotta be honest, I've been playing a lot of Vault of the Void recently, and as a result, I've had this feeling a couple times of, oh no, it's fine. Leave that card in hand at the end of the turn, it'll be retained. No, it won't. That's not how this one works. Do I need the extra draw? No, I need to stay in Gladiator 100% right now. Let's give him a wee bit of Vicious Mockery. And then just full defend. Not everything has to be about aggression right now, especially if we get 3 decks on that turn. Hey, speaking of 3 decks on that turn, let's get even more than that. Single defend is more than large enough for us now. You gotta love that. Okay, backliner just attacked 2 turns in a row. The frontliner just defended 2 turns in a row. There is a base rule in SDS that no unit can use the same move 3 times in a row. So you just saw them alternate there as I was about to... as I was about to point out, as I was pointing out, as I did point out. Then let's taunt our way back into Gladiator. It's actually better for the rest of our plays. Just getting both to the good old the good old kill territory. Okay, now even if defended, that Centurion in the back should be vulnerable to Hand of Greed. There we go. Do I want to bring it on here? No. Donate at the stance if you don't need to, right? I'm going to use the Vicious Mockery double here, and the reason I specifically used the double on that... nothing else. Well, actually, this does draw a card, so I'm staying Gladiator, though. It was just for drawing through the rest of the deck as quickly as I could. Skillful Dodge is counter, though. I kill the enemy no matter what I do here, right? I counter them for 8 and they're dead. Fine. Having slain the cleric's bodyguards, you turn to him and back him into the corner of the alley. He's terrified and trembling. Gain 300 or remove 2 cards from the deck. Considering that this deck has such ridiculous synergy already in it, just in the improvising, giving us the ability to double scale precise thrusts or skillful dodges. I think every card we remove from this deck is worth its weight in gold. If we removed 1 card at the cost of, the opportunity cost rather, of 100 on the last floor, here we're removing 2 at the opportunity cost of 150 each, and I couldn't be happier. Strike, strike. I should have read the rest of that text. Sorry, I'm a little, I got ants in my pants today. I'm sorry about it. Just a touch sorry about it. I'm as sorry as I can be about it without beating myself up about it. How about that? This is about where we are. We have 1 Precise Thrust already upgraded. No, we just have 1. Wow. It's the 2 Vicious Mockeries that we have. And then 1 Precise Thrust. Got it. I mean, what are we failing right now? Damage? And if we're failing damage, does that say that we upgrade the Precise Thrust so that it scales higher faster? Yep. No. No, because our damage can scale basically. Like, our damage and defense can end up scaling ridiculously. What is our problem is the speed at which that occurs. It's just too slow. This is an extra 2 decks on the turns that I have improvising out. Speaking thereof. Yeah, I don't want to execute on this turn. This enemy scales absolutely ridiculously. And yet I still think this is probably the right play for us. Should have played the Bring It On before I did this. Yeah, that would have been really clever. Because then it wouldn't have been treated as a finisher, or rather it wouldn't have ended our turn because we weren't finishing anything with it. So we improv, we taunt our way into defensive here for the sake of that skillful dodge. However, the one that we want to double scale with is the Vicious. 5 decks is pretty good. I could set up weakness and vulnerability forever, basically, right now. Yeah, that's worth a lot. Let's get into Gladiator and then Haymake 2 times. Viciously Mock and a single defend, taking in 9 damage here, but setting the enemy significantly lower than they want to be for quite a while. Okay, that skillful dodge looks like it's in a good position to be played this turn, so we'll viciously mock you 2 times, taunt our way into defensive, playing a skillful dodge. I really want to bring it on now as well. I'm in defensive, right? So I'm not even going to be triggering the combo on the precise thrust. Perfect. Okay, we get back into Gladiator. We'll precise thrust 2 times. Throw out a wild Haymaker, and now we are just waiting for the and a great. Had to be aggression, eh? I'm actually thinking of getting away from the upgraded elite just so that I have a shop on the path, and then there's another shop later, right? So, yeah, definitely pleased with this choice. Centennial Puzzle. The first time you lose HP each combat, draw 3 cards. Draw is worth its weight in absolute gold for us. Thin deck, want to get to our important tools really, really quickly. After that point, we want to get back to our important tools consistently. But this dedicates me to having to get a Sapphire Key next turn, and that's... next floor, rather, and that could be pretty rough. No, I can't turn down the temple advantage we're being offered here right now. Okay, having learnt my lesson last time, I am now going to bring it on. Crookedly strike. Defend. I'm gonna taunt my way into Gladiator. I really want to double up on that precise thrust, but I'm feeling like that's a problem. We'll go for vicious. Oh, we can't double up on anything. Okay, well that makes sense why I perceived there was a problem there. Just misdiagnosed it is all. Thankfully we're in Gladiator, so the improv and then Haymake is going to be totally fine here. Any of those vicious mockeries just draws a card right now. If that draws the Hand of Greed, I would be... Hey! It would have as well. I would have been quite sad. I think we found significant dividend in our previous plan, so why stray from what works? Okay, I'll taunt my way into Gladiator for the sake of using Vicious Mockery for an extra draw this turn. I like that a lot, actually. Okay. Viciously Mock. Give him A wee bit of a haymake. I could throw out the execute right now, but it does draw me 3 cards as well. And if any of those are improvising, and it's actually quite a high chance that one of them is, we actually feel pretty bad about that. So instead, I'm going to throw Hand of Greed, stay in Gladiator mode. Nice. It would have drawn improvising as well. Now we play improvising, and then just precise thrust 2 times, upgrading it as best we can. Crooked Strike should probably stay in the deck. Also, no, I'm going to use it this turn for the extra draw. Because I also have a finisher next turn that I am very, very likely to end up playing. And that bring it on. Okay. Execute the frontliner. Interesting. Strike for a kill. So am I looking for the defensive stance here then? I guess. Hey, Bring It On is the one that had the cost reduced. Neat. Oh, Vicious Mockery, 2 times there. 18, 12. Okay. Haymake. And a defend and Bring It On. I'm probably not going to cycle again for that, though. It kind of looks like at the moment it's possible, though. I'll give it an opportunity to start working. Also, hey, the meat on the bone, I wonder if that and resolve, I mean, you'd assume they would both trigger at the same time, right? At the end of combat, typically all of them cue their trigger because they don't really interrelate. That is to say, like, if you have Burning Blood and you also have Meat on the Bone and Burning Blood heals you above half HP, the Meat on the Bone doesn't then not activate. Instead, both of those are queued to activate and both of them activate simultaneously. It's just, at the end of the fight, Meat on the Bone cares whether or not you are below half HP. So, effectively, if it doesn't heal us at the end of this fight, it is... the resolve is triggering before that phase. Okay, so I don't want to get into defensive here, ideally, actually. I'm almost certainly just killing this turn, right? So let's use... Actually, we'll use Stance to enter Gladiator. Use Vicious Mockery 2 times, looking for 2 draws. Fine. We use Taunt, looking for another draw. We get another Gladiator, and now we just have to kill a target. Hey, that's 10 counter. Hang on. We don't have to kill right now. Thought that was a foregone conclusion. No! A Roomba? I tried so hard and got so far, but in the end it didn't even matter. That's another precise thrust. We have a lot of combo cards in this deck. We're starting to get to the point where we're playing one most turns. We have 5 combo cards in the deck. We have 1 power that sorts its way out of the deck. We have an exhaust card as well. And we're going to be cutting more cards from the deck. I don't think we take that. And now, you. Had it about up to here with you, bud. Deals additional damage for all of your upgraded cards. Okay, so this used to say all of your upgraded cards in your deck, and I at the time, mistakenly, importantly, thought that was not functioning correctly. When something says in your deck, it is referring to your master deck. That is something that I it slipped my mind, frankly. You know, you say a bunch of things, eventually you're gonna say some of them wrong. It's important to own up to them. However, so it was functioning correctly at the time, but then it looks like now that it says all your upgraded cards, this is literally the same as the text on Perfected Strike, all your strike cards. Now I would be 100% certain that this has to scale with all of our upgrades. So if I played Apotheosis right now, it would increase in damage. That's effectively what I'm saying. Executive. Woo! That's improvising right there, though. I was about to hand a green, but I was trying to improvise. Guess that one will have to be enough. Okay. Skillfully dodge a couple times, strike the enemy, and then bring it on. 2 turns to deal all of our damage. That is not really what this deck do, though. This deck is quite slow. Okay. We'll do the same thing as before. We'll use Gladiator here as a way to just start drawing cards for us. Gladiator again, and then Viciously Mock 2 times. Just card draw. Possible slash. So Haymaker is a combo, so it'll come back and we get to play it again. I just did that just a second ago with a different card, Raps. You have to have seen it happen. Oops. Just execute, strike, and a big ol' hand agreed. Okay, come down to 202. We got another fight on this floor. Dancing Master, the 3rd time you enter a starch each time. Interesting. Okay. So this went from the so if you enter all 3 unique stances in a turn, gain an energy and draw 2 cards. Now it's the 3rd time you enter a stance. This is now a lot more usable. I'm very excited to get that early on in a different run than this one. Sword Sigil looks ridiculous, doesn't it? There's also a Gladiator shout there. Oh, gosh. There's a Flash Strike? That's a good, like, intermediate piece for what we're doing. If I take Flash Strike, I don't take Gladiator's shout. I take I take Flash Strike and I take the Sword Sigil. I walk away. How many negatives do I really apply to myself? That's a good question. Because I'm pretty certain the answer is none. Through our relics, yeah, the answer is none. So, the value proposed by the orange pellets or by the panacea is relatively low right now. We do play a fair few cards in a turn, right? So Ink Bottle is not an insubstantial amount of draw for us. If you don't play any attacks during your turn, gain an additional energy next turn. Let's sort by type because I'm pretty certain... we don't have that many attacks, so there are probably going to be turns we trigger that just not super intentionally. I'm going to take both of those. I'm not going to just, like, spend out all of my money right now, though, because we do have another shop in a little space this time. Remove all strikes, such as which? Gain 3 upgraded tackles. Thanks for the offer at least, you know? Let's improv, stance into Gladiator. Every time I say a word, it has to get worse. This is the rule. This has been the rule for a while. And then bring it on at the end of the turn. Where do I want to do that? Sure. Should have played the defend first just because of the ink bottle. I have to keep that in mind. Okay. Definitely going to be using the block potion this turn. Let's also go for the double dex gain. Not in a stance right now. Fine. Execute the frontliner, dealing damage to myself. Hand of Greed. Are we? Hand of Greed's a bit much right now. Let me get into Gladiator. Yeah. Let's Haymake you. Then we Hand of Greed next time. There we go. That's a Hand of Greed. Let's doubly viciously mock first. Get some greed out there. Get a precise thrust in, and then skillful. I'm looking for another Hand of Greed here, naturally. So I can't get the enemy too low. That's a problem I've encountered before. Hand of Greed doesn't kill from this position. Okay, so we want to play a bunch more cards then. So let's taunt our way into Gladiator. Viciously mock a couple times. There's the Hand of Greed. No Sword Sigil and see if I can actually fix this turn. Hand of Greed's just short of the kill right now again. Fine, bring it on. So I'm going to play 4 cards here, ideally. 1. Pass. 2, 3, 4. First card next fight. Yeah, 1 of 3 cards which enter a stance to your hand. 1 for each stance. It costs 0 this turn. It gives combo cards. Rising Strike. Deals 10 damage. Play this twice if the last card played was also a technique. We're not that technique heavy. Got the double vicious mockery. It's pretty good. This would allow us to get like a surprisingly good amount of damage out there. It's also draw. It's, you know, it's a lot of things. It's just, I mean, Haymaker upgrades to become a technique as well, right? Does stance? No, it doesn't. Oh, it does. Used to draw a card. Now it becomes a technique. Okay, so 2 of the upgrades in this deck also become techniques, making this suddenly a lot more viable of a pick for us. Okay. So execute to begin with, getting the ridiculous draw it follows. I'm gonna Haymake because it's the best I can do to mitigate the damage next turn. Incoming is 15. Improvise, taunt our way into Gladiator using Vicious Mockery 2 times here, following up with Sword Sigil. Bringing on is almost enough now. Enter Gladiator defensive combo though. Hang on. We get into defensive. Use Flash Strike, getting back into Gladiator, and then defend? I'm not super jazzed by my damage output right now. Don't get me wrong, I knew this was going to be the case, but I'm not super jazzed. Whew. Oh, I was a little worried it was about to crash. Not super jazzed about it. Taking my money. Okay. I will taunt to remaining Gladiator for the sake of using Rising Star to draw 2 cards here. That's not a combo card, though. Hey, you know what? If this is going to give me combo cards, give me one now. Hey, this one actually enters something! Yeah, let's go Haymaker. Double up on that. Okay. We are 1 merchant fight away from the kill. We also leave ourselves on 9 for the ink bottle. No, Berserker just doesn't really make it into this build, sorry. We do cycle the deck a lot, so the sundial is pretty useful here. I'm gonna take that and cut a card. I'm already looking at that execute. Finishes are a little hard for us to play. Because we're typically in gladiator mode for the sake of defense. Like, we are gladiator defensive. Like, if I could give you an oral presentation of our kind of weighting. Deathblow's been changed. Deals 10 damage to all enemies in fatigue 10. Upgrades to fatigue 15. Yeah, this gave you a whole lot of fatigue. I kind of wish I did play like a full aggressive defensive build with some of the fatigue cards being as high as they were previously. I could hold on to more money. We've got more shops, right? It's not like I'm running out of value from them. It's also not like any of these are actually huge value for us. So sure, let's do that. Let's enter Gladiator. Draw a whole mess of cards. Keep on keeping on. Precise Thrust is just a bit weak. I want it to scale, but only really when I'm improvising with it, TBH. Good lord. Okay, both of them did their defensive moves this turn, which bodes poorly for next turn. So, not the best boding I've ever heard of. Oh, of course it's not a combo card, it's a technique. But hey, it got us to a Haymaker that I get to double play now, so... maybe I was just being preemptively very clever. You ever think about that? You needn't, because it was just not necessarily. Good appearance of Hand of Greed here, though. Double up that damage. Quick guess, stuck. I'd rather Crooked Strike literally just for the extra draw next turn here. Good draws. And actually, I'm going to enter defensive. The idea here being I want to try and stall the... no, I don't want to store it for as long as possible. Actually, I need to be in Gladiator. Also, that was the first time I entered a stance that turn. Whilst not in one. Never mind. Sorry, the Champion's Crown is correct. There we go. I can play one more card, right? Yeah. And I can play one more card? Yeah. Okay. Just trying to get the ink bottle as well as the sundial both as high as possible there. Didn't want to draw, obviously. Liquid Memory is pretty good. One of your interested. Extra energy. How often is extra energy really what we're looking for? It feels like very seldom. Is that actually the answer to our problem? Alright. While we're in the first cycle, let's go Gladiator. In the second cycle, let's go defensive. So let's go Gladiator. Viciously mock him. Draw 2 cards off the back end of that. There's the improvising. And honestly, now I just want to defend end my turn. I'm going to say your turn, nerd, here. Okay. So. Vicious Mockery double and just start outscaling the enemy. Or Precise Thrust double and just start outscaling the enemy that way. I mean, I am effectively currently exploiting a bug rather, because they are not combo cards. So, my bad a bit, you know? Enemy loses their clumsy. Well done, well done. Yeah, it looks like... Let's look for a technique. Oh my god. Wait, no, it comes back to hand and cost 0. That's nothing. Okay. Defensive combo. I enter defensive. I use Flash Strike to re-enter Gladiator. And I'm actually going to Crooked Strike. Exhaust that out of the deck here. As well as significantly reducing the incoming damage. Stance our way into... I'm now going to go defensive. I will actually stick to what I said previously about changing in this second cycle. And honestly, a large amount of the reason behind that is just so I can build giant stacks of counter as a way to deal damage. So effectively... Oh my god. Yeah, I actually think every Gladiator card in this deck is actually holding the deck far back. If I cut Haymaker, maybe not Flash Strike, actually. Oh, but it's a defensive combo? If I cut Precise Thrust, that's when you do it 3 times in a row. But if I only cut it 1 time, the Precise Thrust, and then Haymaker, and then Flash Strike, and then bring it... Sorry, Crooked Strike. Maybe not Bring It On. Sword Sigil. Like, if I cut all of those and I just had a deck that was techniques triggering constantly in order to give us counter while we're in defensive, and then cards just scaling us ridiculously in terms of our defensive capacity, I think this deck would actually run a lot smoother. That said, that's not the deck that we're playing with, so... You know, how much the fantasy world really matters is up for a bit of debate here, I guess. I imagine that's a representation of the fact that that's being duped by the Draw 2 less cards at the start of your turn. This is a hand of 4. You also have draw, so you draw an additional 1, which means you have a hand of 4 typically, right? So that is representing the dupe here, I believe. Enter that mode. Draw all of the cards. Haymaker with the vulnerability seems very usable right now. Let's get into defensive for a second so I can use the secondary hit of that Flash Strike happily. Love the double Rising Strike here. And again. And we're officially within the realm of playing the Hand of Greed next time for the kill. Whoa, what hit me? I must have oopsed. Certain I was fine there. Crown throw. Hey, now this is actually a good reason to still have Gladiator in the build. Oh. No, the consistency of this deck matters a hell of a lot more. Yes, 2 extra drawers really, 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 I do not want to understate this, really, really powerful. However, this deck already is fine without it. All it could really propose is the possibility to fail what we are attempting to do currently, I feel. We'll take the Cursed Key for an extra energy. We have a lot of draw, so we have a lot of ability to capitalize on that. I mean, hey, that is part of the value, right? If I have extra energy, the Gladiator combo giving us the the technique bonuses for the draw, that's value. Oh, you... That's so annoying. The best path here is obviously down through 2 shops right here, and then 2 rests, and another elite in the middle. It's a lovely time, but unfortunately we do have to get the Emerald Elite. I think I should also probably just get the Ruby Key before I forget about it. Enter Gladiator, draw a card. Precisely thrust, enter defensive. Scale that, attack, and then I'm not going to play the final card because I don't want Ink Bottle to trigger this turn when I don't have the ability to play the card drawn, because, hey, could have drawn Improvising. Speaking of having drawn Improvising, we drew Improvising. Stance into Gladiator. I really don't want to crown throw if I can avoid it. I could strike my way out of this one rather than give the enemy a larger counter. I like drawing 12. Still doesn't get considered a combo card, that one. That's enough to full defend us. Perfect. Oh! Second precise thrust, still gonna tell. If that was upgraded, actually, I think I might have taken it. The flex potion literally doesn't matter to us at all. Should play 3 more cards there again. I do want a Hand of Greed here, so I don't necessarily want to use the Brew Sharpness. Good. Okay, that worked out pretty well. Let's get into Gladiator, throw those 2 out. So we denied 3 draw next turn. However, we almost certainly have the Hand of Greed key. Hand of Greed kill. Told ya. Was never in jeopardy. Okay. That could totally be part of what we end up doing. Riposte shouldn't. We don't actually have the ability to support that. Hold firm? Maybe if it was upgraded. We are about to go to a chest and open it, and it's going to give us a curse. Let's pre-negate that one. I think we go with another removal here. What's our final boss? It's the Watcher. The Watcher, as a final boss, uses singular large cards as well as divinity stancing. So strength robbery against them is okay. I'm trying to justify possibly taking away that Crooked Strike. The more and more cards that I've been drafting, the more and more I'm starting to recognize we don't really use finishes in this deck. We kind of don't want to. We want the consistency of entering a stance and then consistently having it active for all of the technique bonuses following. God, I really wish any of this appealed to me. Hold Firm's close. I'll say that. It's very close. But no cigar. Hey, that's the stance I want to be in as well. Perfect. Let's Swordly Sigil him. Yeah, I'm going to improv my taunt into defensive. Use the skillful dodge 2 times here. Ideally, the frontliner doesn't attack for a couple turns here. I mean, I'm not in Gladiator, though. I'm still looking for the... There we go, the backliner is going to die to that, unfortunately. That's fine. I wanted to weaken the backliner to that, and then I just got too much combo. 25 counter I've been holding this whole time, and I'm about to drop it for a random power potion. Is that... Yep. That's actually going to happen. I needed to just... Hasten. Word of the day. I needed to just more quickly make my way through the resources that I had available. Okay, if we improv and then stance into Gladiator, we can then use Taunt for card draw. Sword Sigil, great. Card draw, nice. And having done that, we now have the ability to actually double play something here. So let's get... Okay, so it did the thing where it counted Sword Sigil as being returned to hand, but... So it used the improvising, but then it also didn't return it to hand because it got exhausted. There is some precedent in this game in instances like Echo Form or Double Tap, where if the second cast has to whiff, then it retains the charge for the next trigger. Something that might be particularly useful in that circumstance, at least. I think I have to continue attacking now. Basically as brutally as I can. That's good. I take only 1 damage here, getting me as much draw as I can get. Make you 2 times. Still not count as a useful effect there for us. That false counter looks really, really appealing though. What we need is the card On Guard. So this deck really needs. Let's thrust precisely here. Taunt our way into defensive. So we can flash strike our way immediately back out of it. Use precise thrust again. Basic attack. Doubling up the Vicious Mockery here gives us the ability now to Rising Strike. What? Do I... False Counter, bring it on? No. Defend, bring it on? Defend, Vicious Mock, bring it on. That's the way. Because we're constantly at such a ridiculous energy surplus, that's the big reason the Champion's Crown activation no longer really matters to us. And this activates, like, it doesn't say it has synergy with Finisher, but obviously if you need to not be in a stance, how do you get out of them? Finish cards. As close as I could get on the ink bottle at the very end there. Spiked energy drink, nothing's that expensive. That is an upgraded skillful dodge. Bingo. Take that one. Not the best opening turn I've ever had. Skillful dodge, false counter. I mean, bring it on for at least some more. Unfortunately, now the enemy attacks on a turn where they're intangible, so never mind. It was very much not good. Improv our way into Gladiator. I can't cast Sword Sigil first, because if I do, I don't get the effect out of improvising this turn. I wish I could have, though. Would have had good options in hand, instead of all the other options we had in that hand. Yeah, you know what? I'm changing it up. Okay. Flash Strike. I'm going to taunt my way back into defensive, then Flash Strike again. Single Haymake, and then a defend. Crown Throw, that's fine. Maybe it's just different fights want me to use Gladiator or defensive. Maybe this is a deck with, like, redundancy in that way. You. Whoa, yikes! The hell is this turn? Well, I'm not in a stance, so I can actually enter and exit now. Let's get into Gladiator though, so we get the extra draw for the next turn, because hopefully that turns out to be a very aggressive turn for us is all. Well, it turns out okay. Flash Strike, unfortunately that is a combo card, so that's going to be the one that gets countered. So managed to full defend there though. Definitely getting into defensive for the next turn. I intend to skillfully dodge everything available. two right back at you. Rising, defend. Definitely can't afford to lower my draw when it's possible that my draw is just 3 burns. Got him. Toxic Egg. When I get a skill card to the deck, it is upgraded. Shatter. Berserker combo. Remove the blocks of artifacts. No, thank you. Block Potion. Honestly, hasn't appealed to, but I'm not going to be taking it. Have to take the Sapphire Key there. No choice. Break, break, break. That Skillful Dodge now wants an upgrade pretty badly. One more upgrade opportunity after this. Then I have one next floor as well. See, the thing is, the other two still want to become combos. And also the Skillful Dodges want to be upgraded too. False Counter less so. I can deal with that. Crown Throw is an extra draw, and I'm still not even looking for the upgrade on that, so... that tells you a little bit about where we are. The ones that become techniques on the upgrade are pretty impactful here. But I think ultimately we are tending towards a Skillful Dodge deck now. Okay, Skillful Dodge will not work in this fight. It's just like, we can scale real... well, okay, it will, eventually. But we really, really, really do want to do this with Gladiator if possible. Okay, we have no access to improv yet. Hang on. Skillful Dodge is still in there. Fine, we go into defensive. Play out Skillful Dodge. Taunt's in there as well, actually. Double defend play, bring it on as well. Just get some extra counter stocked up. Let's improvise a bit. Crown Throw, having regretted my previous turn, having found like every card except for the two that I wanted, Taunt and Skillful Dodge. In fact, just Taunt would have been enough because then Taunt gets Sword Shield to draw the cards, then we're fine. Let me get into Gladiator here. I'm using the heck out of Vicious Mockery. Let's stance, then get into defensive to skillfully dodge. Okay, I feel like I've kind of got a reasonable understanding of the lay of the land of this deck, so to speak. This is working a lot worse than I thought. Definitely have to double Vicious Mockery though. God, does that mean I bring it on? Yep. It does. Okay. Let's get into Gladiator. Scale my defense here, thank you. Perfect. And then get into defensive to scale even better. 18 cards in the deck. We draw a fairly large amount of them every turn, basically. Then false counter, we taunt into Gladiator so that we can use the Rising Strike 2 times here, a Precise Thrust as well, and heck, let's throw in a Flash Strike just for Just for fun. I mean, Crown Throw is not considered a combo, so we can cast it first. $20 counter, eh? 2 times, eh? It's pretty good, eh? And I feel like we made our way out of this fight now. Bye-bye. Why are you still here? Defensive training manual. Techniques used in defensive mode generate 3 more counter. Love it. Pro tip. Don't get hit. Are there any new ones here as well? Sentry mode active. Target acquired. No hard feelings. The heart is strong. The heart is pleased. The heart is pleased. The heart is everything. Shield Sigil! Okay, just based off of having picked up that defensive manual, let's do it. Down to clown with that. Down to clown until I'm in the ground with that. Yep. We need technique bonuses on those now. It's a fair bit overdue, I feel. Alright, I taunt my way into Gladiator. We draw all of the cards. Double up a Rising Strike first. Nice. He needs access to a Crown Throw. I'm going to improv and then viciously mock this target 2 times. Now let's get into defensive. So I can generate way too much defense. Killing the frontliner, and then just setting up for the backline to easily die here. I'm no longer really transmuting all of them into gold, which I may end up regretting. I'm already starting to regret it a little bit. Get our kill though. Smoke bomb, don't need it. Balance, exactly what we wanted. Sure! Sigils? Again? Both of them upgraded. Good gosh in heaven, that feels good, don't it? That feels right. Yeah, it feels right. And I'm gonna save some more money for the next floor. Hey, who knows? Could be valuable there as well. Upgrade all cards, lose all 3 heart blessings. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 cards that it upgrades, but it actually kind of... Okay, how many of these cards would I upgrade manually myself? Haymaker, I would upgrade. False Counter, I would upgrade. We'll be fighting ourselves then. Let's taunt our way into Gladiator for the sake of the infinite draw. Speaking of the infinite draw. Oh, good lord. This enters Gladiator done. Okay, that was entering defensive. Never mind, this is the one that enters defensive. Thank you. Stun the enemy! Let's get all the counter in the world. Stun the enemy for a turn here. You still gotta do your buff on turn 1 though, bud. So, you know, it'll be taking a while. I still don't have Improvise available. Quickly turn that down a little bit there. It's not like it's incredibly discordant when all of the tracks play atop one another, but... But it is a lot. Okay. Let's go defensive. Ah, I shouldn't have done the sigil first. Ryan, you know that. Oh, no, wait. I didn't have improvising out yet. So it did not matter. That was pretty good damage right there. Enemy really refuses to attack whenever I would actually like them to. Let's go defensive now. Ooh, tornado punch. Not bad. $42 on the defend now. It's impossible, but it's off. Yeah. Okay. It's the most defense I can generate this turn. Honestly, it's probably found through drawing. So we defend, taunt into Gladiator, use the Rising Strike for a double draw. That's not what I wanted to say. The enemy's already weakened, so Haymaker isn't really the savior here I would have liked it to be. Alright, okay, I'm staying Gladiator, use the Sword Sigil there. Really? Staying defensive now. Circumvent, thank you. Oh. Took a while, but we got there in the end at least. Let's just skillfully dodge a couple times. Maybe a couple times more after that. Good. Still gonna hand a green in this deck. Nice. I did turn my own HP into gold, just the me was a different me. Rare relic. Yeah. Yep. Balance defensively and start going. Looks good to me. Devastate, nice. Start out with the Shield Sigil. Viciously mock a little and then throw out a Rising Strike. Skillful dodge as well. I gained 12 block exiting this combo, so the Devastate still feels like a reasonable choice at the end too. Pretty reasonable choice when it kills the frontliner by itself. Okay. Stance defensively. Okay, now I actually get into Gladiator. Use Sword Sigil. Vicious Mockery. Sword Sigil again. Really? Yep. Improvising still left in that deck. I had plans, damn it. Finally got improvising. Now I get to double play the skillful dodge, despite the fact that it doesn't scale while I'm doing that. That's good. Staying Gladiator. Just kill the enemy. Wasn't going to be able to get to the Hand of Greed in time. Normal enemies drop an additional card ward. Little bit late for that one. Take another force counter happily though. Fine, no speed potion. I just need immediate relief from things. I'm really, really not utilizing potions super effectively right now. That said, a lot of the time when I'm not utilizing them, they weren't needed either. Enemies extremely not attacking. Like, they are the most not attacking they could really be. Hey, that set up improvising on turn 1 ultimately. Never mind. All is right with the world. Unfortunately, I had to do that on a sigil there. Didn't really want to, but it's okay. I think it's now just time to get defensive, though. Let's go into defensive. We get Flash Strike there. It's a good way to get out if we want it. Damage taken seems reasonable, especially for the extra draw. And agreed. Calculated the entire time. Definitely calculated. Not lucky at all. Yeah, don't really need the block potion there either. Kind of want to go Gladiator so the Vicious Mockery gets this extra draw. It's pretty greedy, isn't it? That's pretty greedy. Just unfortunately a touch too greedy for me. I guess I just improv the Flash Strike now because then I actually get it back. One more time. Taunt into defensive and then shield sigil. Yep. Just need to find effective ways to start defending myself. As much as I want to get the false counter out right now. Well, actually, no, we just draw extra cards next turn to that, right? Don't need to stance here at all. We do have improv up, so skillful dodge is our first play. And our second play too. Also just want to double false counter here. Viciously mock as well. I don't even know if I play anything else. Don't really want to deck trash here. Or at all, really. Most of the time, at least. Okay, let's double up on Vicious Mockery, because otherwise the Shield Sigil would have taken it. Let's go into Gladiator to use Crown Throw without a downside. The downside is that I'm in Gladiator now, right? Not a downside for everything, but just for how we tend to be running the deck at the moment. Okay, let's get into balance. Perfect. Skillful dodge a couple times here. Don't want to get into Gladiator now at the end of this turn. Yep. The enemy is now, finally, in devotion. They also can't do anything with it this turn. This is a weird turn for them to be devoted. Okay. Hand of Greed. Interesting. Staying Gladiator for a second. Defend, Crown Throw. And transmute the soul of the enemy again. Perfect. Alright. This shop has everything. I've been holding a lot of money for a lot of the run. This shop is about to demonstrate why. Okay. Let's enter Gladiator, draw 3 cards. God. This is a great opening. Still think I do need to viciously mock a little. So I'm going to improv. Vicious mock 2 times. Then I'm going to get into defensive. Shield sigil, skillful, skillful. Interesting. Did I did attack the enemy on that turn, right? Yeah, I used Gladiator. Yeah, I used Flash Strike to get into... Okay, cool. I was wondering, wait, how did the enemy lose Fossilized? Oh my god, does counter go through Fossil? It doesn't. Nice. I was just not thinking. Well, I was, but sometimes thinking is a little defective. Everyone has, you know, just a little bit of a non-necessarily super effective think from time to time. It's important to let yourself have that. Hold yourself to too high of a standard and you'll always disappoint yourself. Let's go into a defensive mode for the sake of the skillfuls. He still really refuses to attack me here. Let's get into Gladiator so we can actually... Ooh. Tori and Tungsten. I could have known the entire time they had that. That's remarkable. Do not want to fight you with an unupgraded barrage deck or be weakened in a barrage deck of some kind, or... Most things by this point have escaped being 5 damage consistently. Or a Shiv deck, maybe? Like a really weak Shiv deck for some reason? Crown throw first. Nice, we did find a way out of our current stance. Let's enter defensive. That's actually not what I wanted to do. But it's fine. I can deal. Wee bit of extra damage I have to take here, unfortunately. Vicious Mockery easily there, though. Get into defensive for the sake of our skillful dodge and shields. Even weaken the enemy. Try another defense. Probably. Double up on that skillful dodge. Couldn't be happier too. Ooh, even enter Gladiator and then use this in Gladiator for no extra effect because of the combo. Enemy has to be intangible this turn? Really? This specific turn? This is the one you had to be intangible. I'm just clarifying. Yeah. So, my counter killed the enemy through their intangibility? It looks like. So is that coded as HP loss? No, but HP loss is even reduced by that. Bottled lightning. Oh my god, again? Okay. Yeah, okay. Well, really what we want in the opening hand is one of those, so we have choice. And an extra card in the opening hand, and oh my god, I'm still kind of reeling. Second copy of Improvise. If there was anything that was going to make me take a card here, it'd be second copy of Improvising, second copy of Skillful Dodge, and a second copy of Stance. Thanks. I'll take a secret technique as well. Oh, pre-upped too. Yeah, I'm just getting... We're gonna improvise like mad in this final fight. First off first. More improvisation for me, thank you. Let's hop into Gladiator for the sake of the crown throw here to open up. Okay, and because we're in Gladiator, any technique is also draw, so let's do this to maintain Gladiator. Okay. One use left on improvising as well. Good. Rising Strike draws 2 cards for us. Starting to get to the point that I just want to play out that skillful dodge. Okay, so I'll secret technique out a... God, if I use a sword sigil, though, that takes up the improv from this turn. It's fine, it's fine. I don't need to scale this turn, I just need to set up my improvs effectively. And by effectively, I mean as soon as possible. I could Haymake and Precise Strike. And I have to balance into defensive so that I can skillful dodge, get those ones up. I don't even know if I play that shield sigil yet. Totally have to. It's not like it gets that much better over time, you know? Our defense is pretty low this turn. Let's use Bewildered, and then use Improv to scale defensively here with Vicious Mockery. Stay defensive, I think. So we lose Hand of Greed right now. Would have been a lot worse. In fact, losing Hand of Greed is probably ideal. Perfect. And we have 6 energy worth of stuff as well. Great. Improv. Skillful. Skillful. It'll return. Okay. Oh my god. This is actually way better than I thought it was. I thought the first 3 combos this turn that I play, I was going to return to my hand at 0 cost. And for some reason, I was like, okay, but the ones that are reduced to 0 cost and return to my hand, they're not going to be the ones that come back to me. No, it's going to be another thing that I play afterwards. And it can be, right? I can do it with other things. But this, whew, yikes. This is going to be pretty good. This is going to be approximately incredible. That is totally fine. Should have played this one, actually. It would have returned to the hand. Although now I can actually use it to draw. Kind of funnily. Let's go back into defensive. Gut Punch to get into Berserker? Wait a second, this doesn't exhaust anymore? Significantly less... Oh, it gives you fatigue, not resolve anymore. So you can't just use this as a giant heal. Dang. It's, I'm very, very, very pleased with almost every single card change I've seen so far. Almost every single card change? No, every single card change. Yeah. Like, broadly, they've become less powerful, but also significantly less exploitable. I really like the direction of this. I'm gonna just spam out some extra cards here effectively. Stance our way into, so what? We don't really want to do any more improv this turn. In fact, we can't really do any more improv this turn if we wanted to. Let's falsely counter and then just end the turn in defensive. That's gonna matter more. So I kind of want to spread the love, but also just building up one giant skillful dodge seems to make sense. Yeah, I can spread the love when I only draw one skillful dodge in the hand by itself. I'm gonna spread that love right now, you know? Let's go Gladiator. And now, because I've already hit these cards, like, I just want to get as quickly as possible to the next cycle of this deck. Hence everything I'm doing right now. Okay, can't target anyone with that. Let's count on, I guess. Get into... Oh my god, we got a skillful dodge. Get into defensive. Skillful dodge. Skillful dodge. Skillful dodge again. Skillful dodge one more time at the very end of that just for fun. Care to give me another skillful dodge in this hand? Let's go Gladiator. Not what I was looking for. We still draw a card by playing this once. Okay, but now I can't get back into defensive. So I need stance. Alright. Eh? Did I play a combo card 3 times this turn already? Why? Improvising. First 3 times you use a combo each turn, return to your hand, 0 uses left. Does that not... Huh? What? Why is that not available for me? No, it is available. Okay, so it said 0, but it had 3. What a wild world. There's 2 skillful dodges left in there. I don't want to crown throw and get to them. Actually, I really like to avoid that if possible. I do want to get Devastate out of the deck. Do I have the ability to get back in? Yeah, okay, I've got a Taunt in there. That's fine. Nice work. Taunt our way into defense. 1, 2, 3. 4, 5, 6. Stop short of using the ink bottle on that turn as well. Vicious Mockery. It feels like my dex is high enough, but I mean, it's the one I have in hand, so sure. Why am I ever gut punching here? Really oughtn't to be. Perfect. Then I Flash Strike and then get back into defensive afterwards, triggering the Rising Strike. Stance, a balance, and a taunt left in the deck at this point, as well as a vicious not vicious mockery, sorry, a secret technique to get to the ones that I want in particular. That kind of knows what I'm trying to do with it, I guess. Stance our way into defensive, and then just keep dodging them. Okay, we'll pull out a false counter as well. Just looking for as many of those as I can get. So we... Right, here's what we can do. Get into Gladiator. Round throw for draw. Perfect. Taunt our way back into defensive. Then skillful. Sorry, and one more skillful there as well. I apologize. Oh, I love the amount of damage that do. Okay. So I desperately want to draw cards right now. Let's use balance to try and get into Gladiator looking for draw. Can't do that unless I target an enemy. Can't do that unless I target an enemy. You got me. Okay. Vicious Mockery. It's a good draw. It's just not really what I want to do. Yeah, it's not really what I want to do, so I'm not gonna. skillfully dodge a couple times here if we can. Nice. Then we can viciously mock and rise a little. Good hit. Good hit. It's time for even more skillful dodging. Let's pull out a... I guess we go for the more expensive false counter, because we can just play that easily this turn. Again, I'm going to try and avoid having to not use my skillful dodge as much as I want here. Hey, that did draw the right card as well. We get back into defensive and then dodge, dodge, dodge. Don't stop dodging. Good buff. Just not enough to keep him alive. Just not enough. Skillful dodge is still in the draw pile, so sure, let's try it. Riposte enters defensive as well. Very big fan. Oh, it's a combo as well. Oh yeah, okay, so it's already cannibalizing all of my combos there, so never mind. Just use the liquid memories to pull the right card back, I guess. Yep, this is the biggest one. 1, 2, 3, 4. Play that one. I'm also going to return the original extremely large one to hand. Perfect. And then I'm going to dig through the deck, finding the other one as well. Okay. Take 839 damage for hitting me. How dare you have the GD audacity to try and raise a hand to me. That is our Ascension 3. Good lord, that was a long run. So, as I am starting to understand a new character, yeah, the runs are going to be a little bit long. You've seen this kind of thing in action with characters in the past. Hexaghost in particular, I remember a lot of the episodes being quite lengthy. Signature finisher. Upon pickup, choose a finisher. This finisher never causes your turn or your stance to be exited. Oh, wow. That's really powerful. Power armor, at the start of your turn, gain an energy. This is probably a boss relic then. Your maximum fatigue and counter is 15, and your maximum hand size is 8. You can definitely play around that. The thing is, this character, oftentimes their end game is like ramping ridiculously out of control in terms of counter, in terms of, you know, the fatigue generation, so that you can actually end up with enough resolve points in order to get strength and such. It feels like this robs you of those. And the maximum hand size, obviously, like, it's a limitation on the amount you can draw per turn as well. So this is, I guess, for like a value deck that doesn't plan on ridiculously scaling out of control. We'll see. We'll see. Spectre's Hand. When you play a technique whilst not in a stance, add a strike or defend your hand, it costs 0 and has exhaust. Huh. This has the strike keyword that says any card with the word strike in its name, but I imagine it gives you a default strike because it's comparing it to a default defend. So that strike keyword saying any card with the word strike in its hand, I imagine is not correct. We'll see, obviously, as we get the Spectre's Hand, whether or not it gives us any card with strike in its hand or just the default strike. I imagine is the default strike, though. So effectively, these are like ghost strikes or ghost defense. I mean, it's good. It's effectively anti-whiff, right? It's like defend for 5 if you need to, or deal 6 extra damage if you need to. I imagine you get to choose them as well, because it doesn't say at random. Alright. We are very, very close to the final level of unlocks here. I couldn't be more excited. For the moment, though, my name is Rhapsody. The name of the game has been Slay the Spire Downfall. I know 2 episodes were missing at the end of the last week. That is my fault right there. That is not indicative of anything other than I didn't necessarily have a great end to that week. But I'm here now. For the moment, though, let me say that my name's been Rhapsody, the name of the game. Slay the Spire downfall. Hopefully you've been enjoying yourselves, and hopefully we'll see you tomorrow.